the opportunity. We're not gonna hold the people long like they say in church, but we gonna come inspire, we gonna come tell your story, and we gonna get it out of here. So real quick, guys, I want to share a quote with you before we get started. This is episode 3 of Riding with Purpose with my special guest, Alana Sanders. Should I say Commissioner?
You can.
Okay,
Commissioner elect. I'm sworn. I don't get sworn in until December, so until I'm sworn in, you have to call me Commissioner elect.
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner elect Alana Sanders.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to read a quote. This is a book I'm reading. My homie D1 Gibson got this from. It's called The One Thing. This quote I wanted to read real quick. It's from Charles Dickens. It says, "Our purpose sets our priority, and our priority determines the productivity our actions produce." I'm gonna read it one more time. Our purpose sets our priority, and our priority determines the productivity our actions produce. And one of the reasons I brought this young lady on today is because, man, when I say a workaholic, y'all think I work? Man, Alana, Commissioner elect, she is on the grind. I mean, Alana, we gonna get into it, but I met Alana I think maybe 04 or 05. Was it 2004, 2005, Alana?
2005. Yeah, my daughter's about to turn 2. Okay. She was born 2005.
And
she's about to turn 1. It's 2005.
Okay, yeah, I met Alana in 2005 at In Spirit Church, and there was a time Alana was managing me for a few months, y'all. I don't know, that's an inside scoop now. I'm giving y'all an exclusive. Yeah. Alana, the Commissioner elect, was managing me. And so I met Alana, and I just noticed, man, Alana always has something going on. And even after that time, after we parted ways, I just was following your movement, and you stayed with a grind, man. It was just like, man, it was powerful to see a woman grind like that. And so
thank you.
I wanted to bring you on today just so we can kind of talk about getting it out the mud, because you didn't always start where you are.
Right.
I know you have a story, you have a journey, and today I want to talk to the people that's in the grind right now, that's in the motion, that might be confused. They don't understand their purpose. They got a lot of things going on, but one thing I've always admired about you, Alana, although you had things going on, you always knew what the final destination was, and that's
right.
why I wanted to bring you on here. So tell a little bit about yourself for the people.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Alana Sanders, originally from Covington, Louisiana, which is outside New Orleans, like 20 minutes outside New Orleans. Been in Georgia for about 20 years. I try to think about all the careers I've had over the years, and I promise, and I know this sounds, it may sound different, but I feel like a Jamaican sometimes, but that's a stereotype, okay? But I came to Atlanta, and I had a job offer for CNN to work in the media, because my background is television, radio, broadcasting. So that's how I got to Atlanta. God flipped that thing, and I started doing something differently, to where I opened up one of the first fully fledged modeling agencies here in Atlanta, where I had clients like Versace, I had Tommy Hilfiger, beautiful models that was run on the runway, commercials, had casino chains that were my clients, where we did fashion shows through that. So that was my first thing here in Atlanta. A lot of people know me from the entertainment side when I first came here, working with models. And then from that, I went to teaching in the university setting, which is kind of went differently, but I was using my degrees. My parents were teachers, so I went teaching in a university setting, teaching what I know, which is marketing, PR, as well as business management. I wrote the first college textbook on social media marketing for Pearson Education for colleges. So that's my baby, social media and all those different things. So from that, some strange reason I entered into the fitness arena. And I think I know how that happened. When the school where I was the business chair for years was about to shut their doors here in Atlanta, when they laid off everybody, I got a nice severance package and I didn't want to go back to work. And I said, God, I want to do something to where I can work for myself, because I've been laid off twice before in corporate America. And I said, I want to work for myself to where I don't have to depend on somebody that's going to determine how I'm going to eat, whether my house is going to go in foreclosure. I need to have something that's secure. So he answered the prayer, but I didn't think he was going to answer it for fitness, but that happened. So from there, when I got into the fitness arena, teaching various classes while I was on, I would say, my sabbatical, my severance, just chilling for a while. I went to the gym, start working it out. I've always been into fitness, but after I had my daughter, I got kind of lazy a little bit. I wouldn't say lazy, got so busy, but I got back into fitness, got certified in various areas, and I think differently. I think big. I don't think I'm just going to teach in the gym.
Right.
I think about how I'm going to own this, like how I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
So I started my own fitness format. I'm the first African-American to create a dance fitness format that's almost similar. I don't try to say competitor, but they would probably put me in competition with Zumba, where I have people who are licensed to teach my program. So it's licensed and certified. It's called Get Pulse, where I am the only, I can really say this, I am the only fitness person who has their own fitness music. I go in the lab and create my own fitness, so where people have to use somebody else's or get somebody else to sing or get a license to use somebody else's music. I don't have to do that because I create my own. So that's the difference between my program. And from there, I went, what did I do next? From there, now I'm into politics, to where this is my first time going into politics, where I am the newly elected commissioner for Newton County. I am the first African-American female to sit on the board. As you can see, there's a lot of firsts in my life. As you notice that, I'm the first African-American female to sit on the board, and I'll be the first African-American to hold this position in my county. So that's a blessing to say. But I had, when you become the first, people are watching. So you got to always make sure you do it right. So pray for me in the midst of all of that everything goes well and God is ordering my steps. So that's just a brief summary of just a little bit about me.
Alana, you didn't mention that you got your own band, right? You got your own band?
That's why I said I can't remember everything. And see, I don't think about a lot of it. I just do. Yeah. And people say, when do you sleep? I just do. I don't think about it. I don't think about the risk. That's an entrepreneur. We don't think about the risk. We don't think about where we're going to get the money. We just do it. So I've been singing with bands in Atlanta since 2009, 2010. So I've been doing it professionally with corporate bands, and I've had my own band. So now I've done it with mixed bands, but now I have my own female band, all female musicians, called Pulse Effect, where we actually play for various places here around Atlanta. And all of my musicians are seasoned musicians who play for famous artists and so forth. And we also have a live virtual concert coming up. You can tune into that on September 25th. So tune in, all female 8-piece band.
Wow, man. You, Alana, like I said, you got a lot going on, and we're going to tap into a little bit of that. I got a quick question though. Since you create your own music for your Zumba classes, do you
Get pulse? Get pulse. We don't want to give Zumba,
I'm sorry. You're
right.
You create your own music. That means you get your publishing. When you have a class, you get publishing. You register that through ASCAP or BMI to get paid to do that too, right?
Yep. And the instructors have to pay me to use my music. That's the difference. Yeah. That's how I think. I don't think about, even though I was a Zumba instructor for so many years, I learned the game. See, when you go do certain things, or you work for somebody and it's something that you want to do, you sit back and watch. You still respect their business, do what you need to do, because you want somebody to respect your business when they actually come and work for you or do whatever. So you learn the game and you see how it's done. Learn from the people who's making $599 million what Zumba is worth. Right. So you learn from the people who already got it right, and then you come back and think, dang, how can I just get maybe about 10% of that, just a little bit of that, and learn from everything that they're doing, and you revamp it and you make it fit you. I wouldn't say make it better, you make it fit you and your purpose.
Yeah. So when you started your journey of once you graduated from college, and you was trying to discover or find your purpose, because I'm sure when you came out of college, I'm sure you had a path in mind, but you were trying to find, like, what is it that I'm gonna lock in and do outside of just busy work? How were you able to identify and find your purpose?
I listen and hear from God. I've come to learn that when he gives me a vision or an idea, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not a person to sit back and wait and say, God, you really want me to do this? I don't question it. I just go do it, because I know if I'm given that vision, then I'm walking in my purpose, and he gave it to me for a reason, and to go ahead and do it. Then I also ask when I'm doing it, it's like, God, send me the right people to surround me, because if you don't have the right people surrounding you when you're doing certain things, they can mess up that vision. They can mess up that plan, because God can't bless you in your mess if you have people who's not supposed to be blessed with you.
Right.
So you have to make sure you have the right people that surround you in order for that vision to go to pass, because sometimes he'll give you a vision that's meant to be placed in action, but it's also supposed to help somebody else. So you have to pray on it, like, who's supposed to be in my path? Who's supposed to be around me? One other thing I forgot, we also have the first Black-owned, that was my idea, my first Black-owned nationally accredited fitness convention in the world.
Wow.
And God gave me that idea, and he sent me people to bring on to make a team to create that, the various fitness instructors to create that. So there was no Black-owned fitness convention ever, and we created that in 2018. So we have the first Black-owned fitness convention where fitness instructors can come and get their professional development, their career education credits, and come to our convention and receive that. Fully Black-owned.
Wow. What struggles did you have to encounter, or sacrifices did you have to make along this journey? Because I know it wasn't easy, Alana. It's not easy for anybody. What struggles?
It's not easy.
Yeah.
One of the struggles I can say being a female is one, because and being a female, a lot of people think that you're soft, you're weak, you're not strong enough, and you can't do it. So you have to constantly prove yourself sometimes. And I'm not that type of person to have to throw out accolades and what I've done over the years. I just do it. But sometimes you have to constantly prove yourself that you are the right person to do this. As well as you have people always looking at you. Of course, we're going through this Black Lives Matter movement. They also look at the color of your skin to see if you're qualified enough. So I've had doors closed and people say no. But to me, a no means a yes. A no means that I'm not supposed to be with you. It doesn't mean I'm not supposed to be doing it. I'm not supposed to be with you. So that no means, okay, maybe I'm about to become your competitor. So you saying no to me, so maybe it's time for me to start it on my own. I always tell people all the time, this is what I do. If you don't want me on your platform, I create my own platform. Yeah. If you don't want me in your business, I'm going to create my own business. And then you're going to see me as a competitor or see me doing my thing to where you want to open that door and allow me in. Then you'll find out it's too late because I already started this. Why would I stop what God gave me and then come back over here when you didn't want me in the beginning? Yeah. So obviously what I'm doing what's right, because now you see what I'm doing and you want to be a part of it. But you just have to push through everything. You can't allow a lot of naysayers in your ear when you're going through certain visions and going through the plan or the incubation stage. Sometimes you have to be quiet and move silently and work everything out in detail before you broadcast to everybody on what you're doing, because if you get the wrong people in your ear, it can stop progress. And that's what you don't want. You don't have to tell everybody everything you're doing. You have to make sure you're telling the right people. You have to have motivators in your life. You have the people that's going to tell you when you're wrong, that's going to hold you accountable and say, no, that's not, we shouldn't do that. So there's a lot of difficulties and struggles and things you're going to go through, trials and tribulations you're going to go through. But the main thing is, are you going to allow them to stop you? Are you going to push through it? Because as you know, biblically, he's not going to put more on you that you can bear. So you probably was meant to go through it to see how strong you're going to be to move to the next level. Now,
you said something that was so key. Let's talk to the Black women real quick, because, you know, men, we got it tough. But in the workforce, because you were on the corporate side at one point too, right? You were on the corporate side. How did you navigate through that corporate environment as a Black woman? How did you navigate? Because, you know, it's politics in corporate America, and you're in politics right now. How do you stay true and authentic to yourself while navigating along this journey?
It's interesting you asked that, because I just was on another webinar. We were talking about that. Being a woman, especially being Black, you have two strikes against you. You're a woman and you're Black. That's the two things you have against you. And they look at you in corporate America at a different standard, to where you have to watch everything you do, everything you say, or if you're speaking out about something, you have to make sure you're speaking it softly, because they don't want it. Because a lot of people, if you're speaking out, you're the angry Black woman. I'm just angry. No, I'm just speaking out because it's wrong. So, and a lot of women, especially African American women, we speak with passion. We use our hands, and some people think that's, oh, the angry Black sister girl. So you have to uphold this image in corporate America, and that lets me know that I wasn't fit for corporate America. Everybody's not made for corporate America. I was not made for corporate America, and so I can tolerate it. I know how to fake the game. I know what to do in corporate America. But was I happy? I believe in doing things that make me happy. As a Black woman, I want to be free. I don't want my color to determine what's going to be my progress or my promotion. And I found I had to do that a lot in corporate America. Back then, you remember, I was natural back then with my fro. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember that.
I got a lot of flack.
Yep.
For wearing my big afro. I got a lot of flack from going natural, and I'm still natural. Just got braids in my hair right now, but I got a lot of flack from even teaching in the classroom with my natural afro. I couldn't be myself. I couldn't be free. They wanted you to be this certain image. They wanted you to be this Black Barbie doll, and so that does not happen. You cannot be yourself. And now it's changing. It's starting to change, and it's sad that they had to put a law in effect that we as African American women should not be discriminated against our hair. It's a law now. That's sad. They had to make it a law in order for me to be able to wear my fro or my braids in corporate America, and I won't get discriminated against. But you have to fit that mold of what they think you should look like, and that's not a comfortable feeling when that's not you.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, Alana. With all that you have going on, how do you plan? How do you plan and execute on your plan? How does that look for you at the top of the week? Because I'm real big on trying to make sure I put a plan for my week. You have the Pulse, you have the band, you have Commissioner-elect, you have your daughter, and everything else you got going on. I'm sure you're mentoring. I'm sure you have time where you have to get mentored. How do you plan out your days? Because see, what I try to tell people is like, man, you can be operating your purpose all you want. But if you don't have no plan, even if it's just, I'm going to do this one thing today and that's all I do. If you don't have that, you just shooting at the stars. You shooting aimlessly with no target. How are you planning out your days with all this going on?
It's kind of like when I told you, I said, Dwayne, can you send me a calendar request so I can put it on my schedule? Because if it's not on my schedule, I'm not doing it. Because I found myself being overwhelmed when I'm just going off and like, can you be there at 5? Can you be there at 6? And I find myself overbooking, and then I try to do everything, and I have to realize I'm not in my 20s anymore. Not saying I'm old, but I'm not in my 20s anymore. Yeah. And then I have a daughter who's going to be in college in a year. Can you believe she's going to be in college in a year or two?
That's crazy.
She's going to be in college about in 2 years, and she has a lot going on. So she comes first before everything that I do, because I'm responsible. She comes first. So I have to make sure I manage everything that I'm doing that is outlining first with my purpose. And I also have to say no to some things that do not outline with my purpose. We have to learn how to say no. Ooh. That was a problem I had years ago. Is I want to say yes to everybody because I wanted to please everybody, but everything does not line up with your purpose. Everything is not meant for you to be there. You're not missing out. If those things do not line up with your schedule or your purpose, it is okay to say no. You have to say no sometimes, and that's just how it has to be.
Wow. Yeah. I'm still learning that. Saying no. I want to try to do it all, but I'm coming to find out when it's not lining up to what you need to be doing, and it's not going to help get you closer to your destination, then it's pointless. It's pointless for you. Might not be pointless for the individual or that thing, but it's pointless at that point. Somebody mentioned something. I want to go back and read if I can. God said, this is the time when we as people should be holding ourselves accountable for not only the things that we're doing, but also for the things we are not doing. We should have our own. Now, I want to ask you, I'm glad she mentioned that. How are you, because we're not perfect, Alana. We by no means are we perfect in this life. How are you staying self-aware? How are you looking at yourself, self-inventory and working on you, your mental, your physical? How are you working on yourself daily? What are you doing to make sure you're staying self-aware? Because I know being in politics, you have to be very cautious of you making sure you stay the same person. How are you staying self-aware?
Oh yeah. One of the things I do, that's why I'm big on health and wellness, because eating right, exercise is going to keep that mental together. All that mind, body, and spirit, all that's together. You have to take some time to yourself. It's not being selfish. It is being, you have to take that time to yourself and block everything out, and everything that's around you that's been negative. You got to take that time to yourself, because if not, you're going to get caught up in a lot of things, and you're going to find yourself in various emotions and so many spirits around you that you have not purged, that you've been around. Especially being in the political arena, even though I'm brand new, I have seen some things to where I have to like sit back and say, okay, God, you showed me some things, what I need to do with this. So you have to have time for one, and I don't want to be super spiritual. You have to have that time with God, or that relationship for one with God. You got to have that time with yourself, whether you taking a staycation in Georgia and going to a hotel, or your child is gone, you have the whole house to yourself, or you just going to the mall, walking and thinking, or walking the park. You got to have that time to be able to purge those spirits or purge those things around you that are negative in order to get back into yourself. You also have to hold yourself accountable and make sure your conscience is right, because you don't want to be conscious less to where you're doing certain things that are out of your character. Because when you step outside of your character, that's when you start giving into the enemy to come on in and deter you from your path and get you off that path and where you need to be. So the main thing is taking that time out for you, so you know what is your next direction, and that you are aligning yourself with your purpose.
Yeah. So how do you find balance in all this, Alana? Like, how do you, with all this going on, how do you find the balance? Because I know you got to have time for you. You got to have time for your daughter. You got to have time for the politics, the people that are around you. How do you find balance in all that?
That's what I was telling you about. You have to say no to some things. Yeah. When you have time set for you, that's your time. Don't let nobody take that time away from you. You have to schedule yourself in your schedule. When you have a schedule, you schedule your time in the schedule, and nothing is going to happen during that time or during your schedule to balance you. As well as, I have a mentor, like you said earlier, I have a mentor and advisor who keeps me accountable and say, okay, that's it. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. I run things by them to see if I need to do certain things. They're like, no, this doesn't fit your character. You have to have somebody that's going to be, that's kind of, I wouldn't say like you. You know how sometimes they say you can't always be the smartest person in the room. You got to have somebody that's a little bit more intelligent than you, that see things differently and keep you on your path. Right. You got to have somebody like that that's going to tell you, okay, this is not where you need to go, or somebody that is telling you you're falling off the wagon. Yeah. The balance comes with me making sure that I'm doing things in line, and also having that person who also has me set. I wouldn't say it's like an assistant, but it's somebody that's holding you accountable. It could be your best friend, or somebody that's saying, okay, bro, looking at you like you're tired today. Let's just take this weekend off. So you're not doing nothing this weekend. It's you and your family, or just, hey, let me just take you to the hotel or whatever, or let's just go. Like tomorrow, I'm going on the girls' trip tomorrow. It's me and the girls. Right. We need that time. You got to have your time for yourself, to where you're not just all work. You got to have some play. That's why I also believe in doing what you love. Yeah. Because if you're not doing what you love, then it becomes nothing but work, and it becomes, you're doing what you love. It's fun for you, and it's not stressful. Yeah. I try to avoid stress as much as possible.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, what would you say for the young Black woman that's just starting out, and it doesn't have to be corporate. It could just be starting out in general, finding their path to journey along wherever they want to do in life. What would you say to them on how to get started? What should they do just to get started along their path and their journey?
The first thing they need to do, if they've received a vision, they need to sit down and write down that, not write the vision, make it plain. They have to sit down and write it out exactly how they want it to go. This, like I said, I try not to be super spiritual, but it works for me. I tell you what works for me. Write down that vision, and then you got to pray over and say, God, how do you want me to go with this vision? Then you cannot be afraid, because God is not a God of fear. You have to be a person who's willing to step out. You have to be confident in everything that you do. I also tell that person, if it's something that you want to do and you're starting out a journey, find a person that's already doing it and successful at it and watch them, research them, study them. If they allow you to do a small internship or just to follow them around, or you take them out for lunch or dinner or whatever, just to talk to them. Some of them may charge. Hey, that's their worth. I don't talk about nobody's worth. Right. But if it's valuable to you, you're paid for it. Just talk to them and find out what they're doing. You want to know the ins and outs. I believe in learning from people's mistakes so I can avoid those mistakes. So I can make my own. I don't want to go in the same mistakes they have. If they already went through it, that means they've done it for me already. So I'm just going to learn from their mistakes. And if I make mistakes, those are mine that I have to come through, that was meant for me to go through that struggle. But you have to make sure that you research somebody that's doing what you want to do. If there's somebody out there, find them, talk to them like, man, you know what? I want to be a real estate agent. So I'm going to look for a real estate agent that's doing it, that's on top or whatever, and I take some time with them and talk about it. Tell them, hey, I want you to give me the good, the bad, and the ugly. Not just the part where we making a lot of money, the part where, hey, there's some times in the season where there's no houses to be sold. I want to know every detail from that, because I don't want to go in there like, wait, she didn't tell me, or she didn't tell me this was going to happen. I want you to tell me every aspect, because you're learning from that experience. It's kind of like getting you a accelerated college course from somebody and learning from their mistakes and learning how they actually stayed in the game. And once you do that, keep them on board as a mentor. Watch them, because when you're going through that journey, you want to be able to fall back and ask them questions if you're having problems or you having stumbling blocks that they may have gone through, can help you get through it a lot quicker. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Yeah. Don't be afraid to ask for assistance, because somebody there to help you. Now, there's some people out there that may not want to tell you certain things. Anyway, but there are some people out there that are willing to help you. Just have to find the right people that are willing to help you to get on that journey, and they're there. I don't mind sharing information. That's just me. I share information all day. Now, sometimes I do, depending on the situation. People pay me for mentorship if they want to start a bit. If it's something that becomes extensive, of course, I charge for my time, because and they understand that. And I make sure it's affordable for them and their budgets. I've helped many people start their businesses from scratch. I do that now. I have people who are under my wings. I mentor from beginning to the end to start their business plans, or whatever they're doing. So you need to find that right person that can help you get to that next level. And that's how you have to do it to get on that journey. And don't be afraid. You have to keep your confidence no matter what stage you're in. Right. You got to stay confident. No matter what stage you in, and if anybody challenges you, stay confident and know your stuff.
Man, you know what's funny? When you started managing me, you was like, Dwayne, you got to get you some flyers, man. you remember them cards you made for me? Yeah. Hey man, I was so old fashioned, man. I just like, man, I felt like the people just was go come try to book me. You know what I mean? You said, right. You was like, you said, nah.
Nah, that ain't gonna work, bro.
So you were like, you said, nah. We gotta get you some cards. We gotta get you a new number. Like we had it all, man. I'm so appreciative, because I learned from that experience. It was beautiful. How important was the role of your parents? How did that have an impact on your life now, where you at currently?
My parents taught me to be independent. That's number one. I lost my mother at 17, 18, my father a year and a half later. No, 18. I graduated, my mother on the night of my high school graduation, she found out that she was terminally ill with cancer.
Wow.
And that she only had maybe about 6 months to live. It was my practice of my high school graduation the night before. And I got a call. I was about to drive to my high school graduation. She got a call and the doctor said, there's nothing else that we can do. And that's what the mental comes, because my mom had in her mind that she was healed.
Yeah.
That mind can play tricks on you. When that doctor told her that, I saw her deteriorate before my eyes. Wow. That's why I don't like doctors to tell me nothing. Like, don't tell me I'm about to die. Don't tell me. Let me live. Let me live. So that's when I saw that. And that night shook me so bad that driving, I didn't make it to my high school practice because I got in a head-on collision because I couldn't take it. But that's another thing that made me realize I have a purpose in my life, because at that time that probably was my 3rd car accident as a teenager. Wow. So where I had to get called in by State Farm Insurance Company and they had to scare me and say, you ain't gonna make the next one. It was like statistically known, the next one you gonna die. I was like, dang. But hey, they had to. I mean, they had to do tough love. Yeah. But I walked out of that head-on collision. The guy that hit me left in the ambulance. I got out the car with nothing but burns from the airbags, and my dance teacher was skating. I lived in a neighborhood where it was mixed and they had the little skating trails, and she was skating with her boyfriend and she saw me and the car was on fire, and I just blanked out. I don't know. I just was in shock for my mom about to die, and I'm in a head-on collision, and she's banging on the window, like banging, banging, banging. Get out the car! And I look over at this Caucasian red-haired lady, and I'm like, oh, that's my dance teacher. She's like, get out the car! She's screaming. So I got out, and that was nothing but God, because who would have thought she was skating at that time? I'm leaving, divine, everything was in its purpose. So I finally got out the car and realized, she said, Alana, the car's on fire. It might blow. And so she was so hysterical. And so the next day, I went to my high school graduation with just a bandage from the burns, and like nothing happened. But the guy that hit me, he wasn't so lucky, So that's how I know I have a purpose in this world, because I could have been dead. That's a head-on collision. Yeah. I had nothing was wrong, broken bones. All I had was burns from the airbag. Wow. That's it. Nothing was wrong. And so after I got in college, my freshman year, my 2nd semester freshman is when my mom passed. And then my dad that was his heart. That was his soulmate. My father has never in his life been sick. I have never seen, maybe a cold. I don't even think I seen my dad with a cold. Instantly, he took ill and got a cancer I have never heard of called multiple myeloma. I know what it is now, but I ain't never heard of it. Nobody never heard of that cancer. Multiple myeloma, to where his kidneys shut down, to where he got on dialysis. I mean, just stuff just start happening. And that lets me know when you marry the right person who's your soulmate, they are connected to you to where when their presence is gone, it tears you down. And I saw that in my father. He just wanted to leave and go with her. And my father was a pastor and he knows the Bible in and out, but that was his love. That was his heart. He's human. And so he just deteriorated right before my eyes. And a year and a half later, he died. So I'm the baby of the family out of 4. I was the most dependent on my parents. I'm the youngest sibling. My oldest sibling is 13 years older than me, and my other sibling is 10 years older than me. So it's kind of like I was the only child, but we all same mom, same dad. But I was like the baby. I was the most dependent on everything. So I had to instantly overnight become independent. Mm-hmm. I had to figure out how I was going to finish college, even though I did have some inheritance from my family. But because I was so spoiled, I ran through that money. I'm going to keep it real. I didn't know about budget and management and stuff. I went and got a car. I did all this. But if I would have known what I knew now, I probably would be in a different place financially because some of that money would have been invested. But I had to grow up. I had to figure out how I was going to finish college. I had to figure out all these things. And the great thing I would say is I was glad I went to a HBCU at that time, because I don't know if my life would have been differently or how I would have reacted if I didn't, because those who know that go to historically Black colleges and university, your family is, and my mom must have known that she was going to die, because I went to Grambling State University on vocal music performance scholarship. And my music teacher, who later on became my sorority sister, who I became her sorority sister, let me get it right for she be watching this live, who I later on became her sorority sister, she, my mom talked to her, and I didn't know it. She talked to her, and that time I was a pageant girl. She talked to my pageant director, and she told them, take care of my baby.
Wow.
And I'm pageant director to this day. I am 43 years old. Do you know, and she's 60, she calls me. She said, your mama told me take care of you. I'm calling you to check on you. She calls me to this day. And Grambling State University, people on that campus, my mama talked to many people. When I mean, they took care of me. And I had just pledged Delta. My sorority sisters took care. My line sisters took care of me. So if I did not go to an HBCU at that time, I don't know where my life would have been, because it probably would have been differently on a predominantly white institution, because it's different. Especially with few African Americans, they probably wouldn't understand. So I was able to be free and express myself, and they knew what I went through. And if I needed money or something went wrong, somebody was there to assist me. The guy I was dating at that time, I dated him all through college. His family became my family to when I had my daughter, and him and I were not together during that time. His mother got on a bus from Arkansas to Atlanta and showed me how to take care of a baby. That all came from me going to historically Black college, to my mom talking to people before she was preparing for me. She was preparing for her death and made sure that I was taken care of, because I guess she knew that I needed the most loving on, because I was the baby. Yeah. So that's how my parents, and to this day, from them teaching me and raising me, it made me the person that I am today, because they taught me to be independent when they were here. And I still remember their teachings as an adult, even though they left me at 17, 18, 19 years old. So I'm thankful. And I know I went long, I'm sorry. No, but good, man. I'm thankful for all of that. I'm just completely thankful.
Man, I couldn't imagine being in college and losing, knowing both of my parents. Like, I think mentally, man, you have to be in a different place at that age to lose parents and to be able, man. I know God had to keep you, but man, I don't find it weird that the community embraced you to be able to uphold you and strengthen you, and people was strategically placed at that time, because where were you at mentally? Like, what was your mindset? How were you able to still perform and execute in school with all that going on, if it wasn't for the community? And so that's one thing that's huge, is if you don't have community when you're on this journey, man, you don't have, and I'm not saying you need thousands of people or you need a whole crew. If you have just a few people in your corner, people that can support you and strengthen you, that'll help you along your journey. Don't you think so, Alana?
It definitely helped you. That helped me, because and I didn't mention this part, both of my parents, I had to leave school and take care of them on their dying bed, because I was the sibling that was close to home. I went to school in Louisiana. My brother was in Purdue in Illinois. My sister was married in Atlanta, and my other brother was in Chicago. So I was the one that to leave school and take care of them. They probably had a month or two left, and I'm in hospice watching my parents, both of them deteriorate. My father had to call me, and he didn't want to. He's like, baby, I need you to come home. And I already knew. And then I'm in the hospital with him, and he said, baby, I'm going home to be with your mama. I'm going home to be with your wife. Like, can you imagine your father's telling, he said, I said, no, you ain't about to die, Dad. He was like, I just want to prepare you. He said, I'm going home. And so they kind of sort of mentally prepared me, even though I realized later on that I held a lot of that in. Because even as an adult, there are days, and I'm not afraid to admit it, there's days that I cry for my parents, that I wish that I could ask my mother certain things, that I could wish I could ask my father certain things about men, or my mother certain things about relationships and so forth. I wish, but they mentally prepared me for certain things, and it made me stronger as a woman, and it made me stronger to be able to handle certain things and to get through them to where I know how to react and be more proactive than reactive.
Yeah, absolutely. I seen the question. I'm gonna pop it up one more time. Kirk,
I saw it too. I didn't know what it said.
Kirk said, was mental health an issue then?
I would have to say, well, you know what? In the African American community, we were taught that to deal with it.
Right.
Now, so we're now going to see the psychologists and talking to the therapists and getting help. But I really, and it was offered to me. It was hospice had it. The insurance company said, you know, you may need to talk to somebody. I was like, no, I'm cool. But I do wish I probably would have sat down and maybe talked to somebody, because it maybe would have changed some things of my mindset of certain things. Because, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, when people talk about death, I get cold to it. It's like, because I'm like, I lost both my parents a year apart. That don't compare to what I went through. So I get cold to it, and I have to watch myself, because that's not an act that I want somebody to feel when they're telling me they lost a parent in their 40s or 50s. I'm like, I lost mine at 18. What are you talking about? You should be happy you had this time. So I have to realize that's not the right mindset, but I've gotten cold to it because of I had to deal with that. So I do wish if the tables were turned and I had to do that over again, I probably would have went through the therapy and the mental health part, because it would have helped me deal with it better versus just holding it in like we're taught in the African American community at therapy. We don't do therapy. That's a white thing. That's false. That's a people thing. We all have the same minds, and we have to sit down and talk to somebody to get it out. Because if not, it's going to go somewhere. It's going to be launched out at somebody at the wrong time, and you like, where did this anger come from? Like, where did it come from? So mental health is very serious and needs to be also a subject matter in our African American community, especially our men, the things that you guys have to go through as well. It needs to be therapy needs to be a part of the community that we need to uplift, to say it's okay to sit down and talk to a therapist. Because like I said, if the tables were turned, I probably would have sat down and talked to a therapist. But I did have my sorority to sit down and talk to. I did have some people to talk to that help keep my mind right and to keep me where I need to be. And also the guy that I was dating at the time, his family, his mother, his father, his siblings. So it was like I had a second family to also talk to as well.
Can you put on the commissioner's hat, a commissioner-elect's hat real quick?
Yes.
What are you doing, or what are you saying in Newton County that you think you can have a immediate impact on when it comes to mental health?
Well, I want to create a platform to where I have a lot of friends who are mental health therapists, psychologists. I have a friend who also works in, she's the director for a mental health facility. So I want to provide those means for African Americans. And I don't like to say this part, but it is factual. My district that I represent is 60% Black. So I do look at the Black issues. I do look at those different things, even though I'm representing the entire district. I want to put that out there for somebody to say I'm only representing the Black folks. I represent everybody, but I do see that there's different issues, especially with our youth, because there's not a lot for them to do outside of playing a video game. Yeah. Versus us, we were outside playing. We can live without. A lot of us didn't realize we didn't have until now. We're like, dang, I didn't realize I was really didn't have that amount of stuff, and because we were still happy. We were happy with what we had. But I noticed with the youth nowadays, they don't have the toughness to handle certain situations to where suicide has become the answer. Yeah. Suicide has become this is how I deal with it. That if it's not working, I'm just going to take my life. So that's where the mental part needs to come in, as well as the bullying in school. A lot of they don't know how to handle it. Some of these guidance counselors in school are not equipped to deal with some of the issues that these millennials and centennials are going through, because they're going through a lot of stuff. They have the internet. We didn't have the internet. So they see more things than we did not see, that our parents did not allow us to see. That they could just go and Google it and find it. You can't keep it from them. That's why you have to be so transparent with your kids nowadays, because if you don't tell them, they're going to see it on the internet or at school, or somebody's going to have a video of it. It's completely different. So I want to provide that platform to educate the masses, especially our community, on mental health, that it's okay to talk to a therapist. It's okay to speak to somebody. If you're going through something, that they have an outlet to be able to communicate with somebody that's for them. A lot of our children may not be in a home where it's a lot of parents that are motivational. A lot of our parents now are younger. They're so close to their children. It's like a friend, that they don't know how to be a parent. And I'm not faulting them. That's what they learned. That's what they were brought us, how they were raised. So there needs to be somebody that can assist them. And I heard, they have the Big Brother and the Big Sister program, but we need something outside of that caters to those various areas. The other aspect I want to deal with, as far as with our African Americans, I want to show them how entrepreneurship is a plus for us, because we as African Americans spend $1 trillion a year in the economy, that we can be owning our own and shutting it down. Why do you think they were so scared of the blackout?
Yep.
That's why they were so scared of the blackout, because our money can block it out. We only represent 13% of the population in the United States of America, but our money weighs so much power in the economy that there is no excuse that there are not more African Americans just owning up. There's not another African American that is owning a Walmart, or owning something like a Target or department store. Our money keeps a lot of these businesses afloat, and we need to realize that we have to start building another Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Black Wall Street, to be able to support our own. And I'm not saying it needs to be black, because I have to be very careful with my words, because people can use them against me now that I'm in politics. But I have to say that there are things that we as a community need to be doing in order for our children to have the inheritance that they need to stay afloat.
Yeah, that's real. What other things are you focusing on in your position, in your time serving in the office? What other things are you focusing on?
Education is big for me. That's one of the main things I'm focusing on, the education in my community, because my county's graduation rate it's high, but it's not as high for our community. We rank, I think some of the schools in my district are ranked number 4 out of 10. That is not good at all. There's a lot of bullying. We also, in my county, I want to see more infrastructure, more buildings, more things to where I don't like to say constituents, I like to say neighbors, because I'm a servant, I'm not a politician. That's the difference. So I say that's my neighbor because I live in the community, so I am your neighbor. So I want to see various things that are just as competitive as a Gwinnett County. Our libraries are outdated. If you go to Gwinnett County, they have green screen technology. They have Adobe Photoshop. These kids are learning the best from the best of the best. Software, everything. I want to see that in my county. I want to see the kids to be able to, those who say they want to become producers, because everybody's not made to go to college. That's understandable. That's completely understandable. You have people who might want to be a producer, somebody who wants to be a graphic artist. So if they're able to have that software or different things that are available to them to learn on while they are young, the powerhouse they will be once they graduate from high school, going straight into their careers. I would love to turn some of the schools into career academies, even though we have the only STEM academy in the state, Newton County. Newton County has the only STEM academy. That's your science, your math, your technology, and all of your English. We have the only STEM academy in the state of Georgia. That's public. It's a public school and career academy. So if that was spread out through all of the county, not just that one school, because those students, my daughter actually goes to that school, they have to actually be interviewed to get into it. You have to have a certain GPA or whatever. But everybody who is I'm sorry,
no,
somebody was trying to call me. Don't call me right now. But everybody who has an artsy background may not be good in the books.
Right.
They may not have that 3.7 or 4.0 GPA, but they are bad when it comes to art. So I would love to create that atmosphere to where they can actually learn those various things. So when it's time for them to graduate, they can go into a career. I believe in building careers and not staying on a job just to make money.
Yes.
Build a career that's going to give you lasting, long-term money, because you're going to work hard towards it, and you're going to put your all into it versus going to a job and getting up. I don't feel like going here today. Then you got an attitude going to it. But if you're going to that career and building that career, it's a completely different story.
Absolutely. Well, as we wrap up, I want to I always ask my guests to empower the people. We're going into Monday, even though it's Labor Day. You know, when you ride with purpose, man, days don't even matter. You just flowing. And so what I would like for you to do is to encourage the people for the week, man. If for those that are watching, those that'll be tuning into the replay, the future people that'll look at this 20 or 10 years from now, I want you to encourage them, empower them, inspire them to go to that next level, whatever that level is for them. I want you to give them some words of encouragement that'll take them there.
I know that the day, the hour, and the time might not be what you're looking for. We're going through a pandemic. We're going through various things. You're seeing a lot of death around you. But remember that God has a plan for everybody, and God has a plan for you, that you are unique. And God only gave those visions and talents just for you to put a mark and a stamp in this world, and a mark and a stamp on this earth. Without you, there is something that is missing. So whatever vision you was given, you have to fulfill it and go forth, because you are missing in the atmosphere. And no matter what hard times you're going through, no matter what trials and tribulations you're going through, just remember it only lasts for a short period of time. It's just a test to see if you're going to get through it, and that you deserve what the blessing that God is giving to you. Because that blessing is meant for you, but you have to want it. You have to accept it. You have to want to receive it by keep going and keep moving. Because if you stop, you're missing something that's going to happen for you on the other side, because you're dwelling in the mess that's getting you off your path and that's stopping you from being focused. So you have to remain focused, keep going, keep pushing through, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it may be. Remember that you walk by faith, not by sight. Because if you keep using your sight to see your situations and what you're going through, you're going to always be stagnant in your mess and stop moving to where you need to go. Keep pushing through. Just remember, when something's trying to stop you, something big is trying to happen, because the enemy is trying to stop you from getting there. So just remember that when you have struggles, haters, naysayers, and debaters, that's the enemy sending somebody to stop you from getting to that next level, because he'd already peeked into your future and saw how great you are going to be and how accomplished you're going to be. And he already saw your success. So they're trying to stop you from getting to your success and reaching the blessing that is on your life and the favor that is on your life. Keep pushing through, keep moving, keep striving, no matter what. Your destiny is for you, and you have to fulfill it. Because if you don't, like I said, you are missing the mark. Sorry, in the atmosphere. Somebody's trying to call me. Why they be calling you? Right? See how the enemy do that? People trying to call you in the midst of trying to encourage somebody.
Man, look, that was so on point. And man, I want to tell y'all need to support Alana, Commissioner-elect Alana Sanders. Y'all follow her. She pinned in the comments. We're going to post some videos later. She out there doing a great work. And I seen her when she was up in the choir stand, and she managed me. So y'all know if she rocking with me, she good people. So I need y'all to rock with her, support everything she got going on. Alana, tell the people how they can find you and everything you got going on before we go.
Yes, yes, you can find me on all social networks branded at Alana, Alana Sanders. Or if you're trying to go follow my political path, it's Commissioner Sanders. It's all of my social media, or alanasanders.com. You can reach me there, and all my information is actually there for you. And I do respond to everything. I'm not one of those people that just look at messages and don't say anything. I do respond. So I thank you so much, Dwayne, for having me. This has been awesome. Really, really awesome.
Thank you. Y'all tuned into another edition of Ride with Purpose, episode 3. We got 11 seconds left. Appreciate you, Alana. Love you. We'll talk soon. See y'all.